If you choose to stay, how do you stay and live in the choices that even though you know you want more, this is not the best for you, but you're going to choose it, what do you do with that? How do you stay with that?
Did you push record?
Thanks for tuning in again to our second act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life. How you doing, Silka?
I'm doing good. Paige, picking up on our emotional health series, as well as I guess this sort of ties into, recreating your life after 50 and a lot of what we've covered, what we've, discussed, not staying in a relationship that's unhealthy or, how to leave an unhealthy or unhappy relationship, etc. And there's a lot of comments where people just, I just don't see myself leaving. I don't know if I can do that. I don't know that the grass will be greener on the other side. And then you and I talked when you were here, and I found your response interesting, and that's why I thought this would make a good segment, is, when, even though you're happy, maybe you're even, not happy, unhappy, maybe you're even miserable, but when would it be okay to stay? How do you come to terms with that being the better choice, actually?
So what I meant by that is, yes, we always want to strive for, spiritual growth, emotional growth, relationship growth in many ways, and to be happy and to feel fulfilled. Yet there are many people out there that don't choose that path because for whatever reason, whether they're too scared, whether they feel like they can't do it alone, whether there's a financial component that they don't have the money they feel to do it, whether someone that they love that they're in a relationship with is sick and ill and they couldn't imagine leaving them, or whether they just don't believe that they are worthy of anything different. There's many different reasons why people stay. So what I had said to you, Silka, was whatever your reason is, if you choose to stay, how do you stay and live in the choices each day that even though you know you want more, this is not the best for you, but you're going to choose it, what do you do with that? How do you stay with that?
Well, what is the answer? And that's a tough topic. It's a tough topic, and a lot comes up for me. I mean, I made the choice to leave, as you know, after 25 years. For me, it wasn't a hard decision. I didn't have to worry about kids. I supported myself. It was by no means easy, and I've had lots of ups and downs. I mean, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. I recognize that, but for me, it was probably easier than for most people. When I think about having to care for, say, a spouse or sick spouse, I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't imagine leaving. That I couldn't live with myself, I don't think, and I know a few people in that situation, and so I get it. How, what do you do, though, to live life to the fullest in those conditions? And I don't mean just with taking, care of a dying spouse or ill spouse, but when it just when the grass just doesn't seem to be greener on the other side.
So this whole thing about grass being greener, okay, grass begins to be greener when you grow it within yourself. When you fertilize it, when you water it, that's where the grass gets green within yourself. So, and we could take this show and do hours of it, because are you staying in a relationship that's abusive, where you're in physical danger, where you're in emotional danger? You have to really weigh all of these things. So just know there's many different reasons. We're trying to focus in on, okay, I'm choosing to stay. So if you're choosing to stay for whatever reason that it is, maybe choosing to stay means, what are the positives of this situation that I'm in? How can I create a space for me within this relationship or situation that I'm in? What type of hobbies or things do I want to start to try so I can grow myself and at least have some happiness over here? What distractions, healthy distractions, can I start to do that maybe gives me spiritual growth or different friendships? Or, maybe there is something that I've always wanted to try that I haven't tried before. So it's really kind of going, if you're going to be in this relationship, start to choose you as far as, okay, well, if I'm going to stay, then let me do these kind of things so I can at least have some fulfillment on this side if I'm not getting my needs met on this side. And sometimes when that happens, believe it or not, you start to grow more and you start to get more strength and you start to get more like, hey, I really can do this. And maybe you do decide to leave. And on the flip side, when you start to step into yourself more and do things for yourself while you're staying, sometimes, and I've seen this, the significant other notices and is like, wait a minute, what are they doing? And it's like, wait, hold on a minute, where are you? You're supposed to be here with me. But as you keep growing, the other person doesn't. And you can really see a huge disparity. Sometimes that other person doesn't want to be left behind and they start to come up and boom, you have a different relationship. Or the person stays here and you keep growing. So in this moment right now, as you're listening to this, because all we have is the moment that we're living in this moment, if you're choosing to stay, choose to do some things for yourself that grow you while you're choosing to stay. Because the next moment, the next hour, the next day, something might have shifted for you. Does that make sense, Soka?
No, makes great sense. What I was feeling was that there is a lot of movement that you may not realize you have within a confined, if you will, relationship, depending again what the circumstances are.
Yes.
That there is a lot of maneuverability, and the same effort that you put into creating something outside of that relationship. You don't know what's going to happen there either.
Right. That's very, very true. And you brought something up of, you wouldn't know what it's like to be with someone who has an illness. So, and I talk about this a lot. I've done trainings on this before. So if you have a significant other who's sick, just remember that if you weren't happy, sometimes it wasn't so much about the illness. It was what happened before the illness that has now piled up on this illness. And what you're seeing is, oh my God, this is the way it's going to be for the rest of my life. You have every right, and I teach people this all the time, to speak to your significant other who's sick to say, I know you're sick. I'm here. I'm going to be able to do this, but I can't die with you. So I'm going to be doing things over here. We'll figure out who can come in the house and do what, but I have to keep living at the same time as I'm being here. You can actually do both. And I know because I lived it for 8 years. So I get it on many levels. And I just wanted to put that in there because I know there's people out there going, well, what about us who we have the situation with our spouse who's either terminal or really sick? I can't see it getting any better. So I wanted to offer that type of information as well.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and everybody's situation, is different.
Yes.
I think maybe, speaking in general terms, I mean, there's a lot of relationships out there where, again, you hit 50, and we have lots of friends that deal with this. You're just not satisfied. You've grown apart, whatever, you're ready to move on. But in those cases, especially, the advice that you just offered up, you might be surprised how much maneuverability there is without making that drastic move.
And there's also, sometimes people stay because they're the ones who have the illness and they're too afraid to, how do I leave? Because this feels secure, because I don't know if something's going to happen to me next week, next month, the next hour. So that's another component. So if I could just say something in closing, because I know you're about to ask me that, Silka, is never judge what you see others going through because you're not living in their shoes. And on the same flip side, never judge yourself for what you know you need and what you're going to stand up and get while you're choosing to live in that situation as well, too.
No, great advice, Paige. And, I thank our viewers for the comments. If there's other topics you'd like us to cover, please, drop them in our suggestion box or leave us comments. We always love hearing from you. And we'll see you next time on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
For your second act of life.
Thanks so much for watching. If you have a topic that you would like to see us cover, please visit our website, secondact.tv. On our homepage, we have a suggestion box in the upper right-hand corner. Just drop us a line. Let us know what's on your mind. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time. Bye-bye.